Alright guys, let's make a start. IELTS reading, and this is academic IELTS reading, and we will solve this test together. इसमें आपके almost हर तरह के questions we've got list of headings, true, false, not given, multiple choice and all that. All you need to do, you need to attend the class attentively and actively so that you understand what's going on. And even if you don't understand, read the question and just underline the location and write their question number so that when you go home, you can practice again. Now we've got this passage and you can see there is no title of the passage. So in case if there is no title, it's a good idea to read the first sentence. So the first sentence is Lumiere brothers opened their cinematography at 14 Boulevard and all that. It means this is all about cinematographs, movies, pictures and all that. Okay, and even if you don't get any idea, read the second paragraph so that you understand what it is about. Right after this, you will come to questions, because questions, and sometimes if passage does not give you any understanding, you can come to questions, because questions are the summary of the passage. So they will give you some good understanding of the passage. Now we've got questions 1 to 5, and the question type is which paragraph contains the following information. This question type is type B. Type B means questions and answers are not in order. Type A means questions and answers are in order. So where questions and answers are in order, try to do those questions first. And where questions and answers are not in order, try to do such type of questions in the end of that passage. Because these questions will take all the time, number one. Number two, these questions need scanning of all the passage. So if you are not familiar with the passage and you are trying to solve type B questions, it will eat all your time, and at the end, like you see, there are only 5 questions, and these 5 questions can take your precious 10 minutes. If you start with these questions. For example, for question number 1, location of the first cinema. You have to scan all the passage, where do they talk about it and all that stuff, right? Now, what we are going to do, we are going to start with yes, no, not given, questions 6 to 9. Now, you need to understand true, false, not given, yes, no, not given. These question types are called type A questions. Type A means questions and answers are in order. Once you find the answer to one question, read on. It can be the next sentence or next line or next paragraph, and you will find other answers as well. So we've got this question here. Yes, no, not given. Question number 6. Now, yes, no, not given checks writer's claims or writer's views. True, false, not given, they are for factual information. Yes, no, not given, that is for writer's views. And a very common mistake which many students do, instead of yes, no, they write true, false. Instead of true, false, they write yes, no. You have to be careful. If you write true, false or yes, no, your answer may be wrong. Even if it is true and yes, your answer may be wrong. So you should be careful. If it is true, false, you need to give yourself a message. You can underline like yes, no, underline that so that you know the type is yes, no, or you know the type is true, false. Okay, now first of all, you will read the question. After reading the question, you will find a clue word. And every question will give you a clue. And then you will look for that clue word in the passage, and there you will find the answer. The first task is to read the question and find the clue word. The second task is to scan that clue word and reach the right location of the passage where there is the answer. If you are in the wrong location and you are reading, even then you will find the answer. Based on your own understanding, which will be absolutely wrong understanding, even then you'll find the answer, and that answer will be absolutely 100% wrong. So the first target is location of your answer. Now we've got question number 6. It is important to understand how first audience reacted to cinema. Underline first audiences and then reacted to cinema. Okay. Now there is one thing which is your basic understanding. For example, you're going to read a passage about history of cinema, right? So when they tell you history of cinema, they are going to tell you about first audience and their reaction. So such type of information is going to be in the first paragraphs. Why? Because they say when the first movie was made, audience was surprised or anything like that, okay? So for this, what we are going to do, first audience is our clue word, right? And it is important to understand. Now, if it is important to understand how first audiences reacted to cinema, answer is yes. If it is not important to understand audiences' reaction after watching the first movie, then it is not. It is no, and otherwise not given. Now, the point which is important is not first audience. The point is not reacted to the cinema. The point is whether it is important or it is not important. Okay, so we will go back. Now, let's go back to the passage. Please come to first paragraph. We've got this first paragraph. I'm going to read it from the beginning. The Lumiere brothers opened their cinematograph at 14. This is the location to 100 paying customers. So they were 100 paying customers. Who are they? Audiences. I mean, for customers of cinema, they are audiences. Over 100 years ago, on December 8, 1985, before the eyes of the stunned, thrilled audience, photographs came to life and moved across a flat screen. Now, they talked about this audience, but they did not mention anything that whether it is important to understand. So, you will change the location. If the answer is not here, you may go on and you can find this information elsewhere. Let's go on. Paragraph B. Okay. Fourth line. Very good. But it is worth trying, underline that. It is worth trying for to understand. Worth trying for to understand. What does it mean? It is worth trying to understand. What does it mean? It is important, right? When something is important to understand, that means it is worth trying to understand the initial shock of those images, right? Now, we go back to the question. The question says what? The question says, it is important to understand how the first audiences reacted to the cinema. So they said it is worth trying for to understand. So answer is going to be yes. No, not true. Okay. Say mistake. Answer will be yes. Instead of yes, you can write Y on your answer sheet, but it's a good idea to write full thing as yes. Yes. No, the main hint is in the fourth line after full stop. They say, but it is worth trying for to understand the initial shock of those images is to understand the extraordinary power of magic of cinema. This is the line which has the clue. Okay, now let's move on. Question number 7. Lumiere brothers film. Now the subject is Lumiere brothers film about train. Very good. Train is your clue word. Lumiere's brother film about train was one of the greatest films ever made. Now look here. Subject is Lumiere's brothers film train. That is the subject. Now what is it that you have to find? You have to find if that movie was the greatest film ever made. Answer is yes. If it was a flopped film, answer is no. And if they don't tell us whether the movie was hit or flop, then answer is not given. So we go back. And as I said, questions and answers are in order. So we are going to go towards the film and all that. Same paragraph. No, it's the next paragraph. Well done. Paragraph C. Okay, we are there. Paragraph C. One of Lumiere brothers' earliest film was 30-second piece which showed a section of a railway platform flooded with sunshine. A train appears. Now that is our clue word. A train appears and heads straight for the camera, and that is all that happens. That's it. Now, have they mentioned? And then they change the topic. Then this is yet Russian director, this and that, and all that. So they didn't tell us whether the movie was super hit or it was a flopped movie, right? We go back and we just see what should be the answer to this question. Yes, that's right. They say Lumiere brothers film about train was one of the greatest films ever made. So there is no mention of greatest films ever made. That is why answer is not given. Clear? Again, like if it is there, then it may be yes as well. But as I told you, questions and answers are in order. So that's it. Okay? All right, now let's go on. We read the next question. Question number 8. Please focus and pay attention and don't talk to each other. Don't try to teach each other. Just focus here. Question number 8. Cinema presents a biased view of other countries. Underline biased view of other countries. Now, biased view. One is honest view. One is biased view. So, if cinema presents a biased view of other countries, answer is true. Biased means they take sides of someone. You know, biased and unbiased, right? So if cinema gives biased view, answer is yes. If cinema gives unbiased view, then it is no. And if the word biased or unbiased, there is no information on that, then answer is not given. Now let's go back, and you got to look for cinema presents and other countries. Look for other countries, cinema presents and all that. Title passage. Paragraph D for doctor. Okay. All right. What about paragraph E? Can you see the word American and all that? Yeah. So please come to paragraph E for egg. And there you need to come to this American imagery. Got it? Yeah. Now, American imagery, the cars, the cities and the cowboys become the primary imagery of film. Film carried American life and values around the globe. Okay, now have they mentioned anything about biased or unbiased, like say American imagery about cars, and in fact it's not the reality? There is no information on biased and unbiased. See, for other countries, they use the word American. American, the cars, cities, cowboys become the primary imagery of film. When you watch American movies, they show you cars, they show you city life from helicopter and all that stuff, right? Then there are cowboy movies, but they didn't mention whether that imagery is biased or unbiased. Hence, answer is not given. Very good. Let's go back to the question. Cinema present a biased, so the word biased, unbiased, there is no information on that. That is why this answer is not given. Okay, let's go on. Question number 9. Storyline was important in very early cinema. Now look here, underline storyline. Storyline. So if storyline was important in early cinema, answer is yes. If storyline was unimportant, the movie was important without story and all that, then it is no. And if they don't tell us whether the storyline was important or unimportant, then answer is not given. Okay, now we go back and we look for storyline or wherever they talk about story. Paragraph H, that's right. Paragraph H. And there they say, cinema has also given a new lease of life to the idea of story. When the Lumiere brothers and other pioneers began showing off this new invention, it was by no means obvious how it would be used. And then they said, all that mattered, now this is important, all that mattered at first was the wonder of movement. Wonder of movement, train is coming, action and all that, wonder of movement. Indeed some said once this novelty had worn off and all that. Now all that mattered at first time was the wonder of movement. Now let's go back as they are talking about storyline. So yeah, storyline was important. No, what was important? Movement was important. Storyline was not important. That is why answer to this question is no. Exactly. Right? Okay, thank you.